Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Open Mic Foundation. Today is a beautiful day in South Africa. It is entering summer, so it's getting really hot in South Africa. So welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. We are streaming live in a few places. We have our Facebook page for Open Mic Foundation. There's a private group which is called Open Mic for Women, and also our YouTube channel. So thank you so much for those that are joining. Today's storyteller is from South Africa, and I will introduce her to her now. I will introduce you to her now. Let's kick off the show. And welcome, Tessa. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us on this Sunday afternoon and taking some time off just to come and share your story. I do appreciate that you're coming on today.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Oh, thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining. Please send through your comments. Your comments will be live, and if you could just share your name or just wave and say hi, that would be great. We will be able to see all comments coming from all different platforms. So Tessa, introduce yourself, where you're from and who you are, before we go into your story.
My story says who I am. So in a sentence, my name is Tessa Pule. I'm from Bulgaria, actually Foxburg, in Johannesburg, South Africa. I stay in Bulgaria at the moment, and I'm the founder of Youth Nations, a youth development organization, and I started R&T Communications, which we help people get to market and you find your niche market. I am a lot of things to put in a sentence.
So for everybody to
let the story just speak.
Yeah, so Tessa is, I met Tessa a couple months ago on a project that we were doing together. And Tessa, the work that she does just, inspires me to so much of levels of things that she does. And she does everything, like she says, right? A beautiful entrepreneur, and I've been meeting so much of entrepreneurs across South Africa and even around the world. But it just amazes me. Tess, I must admit, hey, I've come across some women entrepreneurs in South Africa. And when I listen to their story behind why they created their business, wow, there's just so much of passion and love and kindness that the women of South Africa just eludes. And I'm so intrigued. And you've been one of them. So,
thank you.
So let's kick off. So today's story is about, a life by design, a very intriguing conversation and story. So I'm going to hand it over to you, and so that you can take us through your journey.
Okay, I think your questions have to be more precise.
We go with the flow, Tessa.
Okay, so what is a life by design? Having studied quite a lot in communications, that's actually my formal education, and my passions are neuroscience, metaphysics, and spirituality and religion. It's come across that we all live a life by design, and either you're consciously aware that you're designing, or you are living it by default. It's literally, do things happen that you want to happen to you, or do you experience things happening to you? So I think I was like 16, 17 when I decided that actually, no, I'm going to live a life by design.
Wow.
I'm going to go to the places I want to go where I want to go. I want to see the people I want to see. I want the experiences I want to experience. And So I've been living in the clouds for a very, very long time.
Wow, that's a really young age. And how did you come about that? I'm going to leave you to share your story. So I guess you will share it as you go along.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, I've said this a million times before. I was not born average. So I was actually born under a state of emergency in apartheid, South Africa. And my upbringing, my parents were actually very entrepreneurial. So I literally had a gold spoon in my mouth. My dad had a pathology business. We had like 8 cars, like 9 drivers. So my life was really sorted from a young age. It was only in high school that I realized it was awkward that the majority of people did not have entertainment areas in our house. Like a pool standard, with a bar over there. So like it took me like a moment to wrap my head around that. But what actually started my journey was I came home from school one day, and as I turned the corner, all of my mother's household contents were on the yacht. Mind you, it was like a 2.5 acre yard, so the front yard was big enough on its own. But we were being evicted. And my mother at the time was in Dubai. She had no clue what was happening. I watched my dad fall apart and put himself together like consistently in an hour. Like he couldn't believe that he was also still my dad and had to make a plan. And I think for like that first week, it was madness looking back. But when we were there, it's like, oh, okay, we'll go to my aunt's house. I could still go to school because they lived up the road. It's my best friend's house, so that would be fun. And I sort of missed all the adult drama. I mean, I was all of like, what, 14, 15? And then one day the phone rang, and I picked it up. And it was my mother, and I realized in that moment that it's the first time I've heard her voice in a week. And she had no clue who her kids were, because there were no cell phones.
Yeah, there was no cell
no
phones.
Insta, nothing.
Yeah.
So for the first time in 7 days, she heard her kids and figured out where they were, because she couldn't reach us. She kept calling the landline and nothing was happening. No one was answering. But it is that 3, 4, 5 year journey through high school where I had like the coolest principal you could ever imagine. I actually think she had a personal vendetta against my family. So it's not so much maybe of a race thing, but my family specifically, because how dare we?
Yeah.
And the sheriff of the court, because the evictions were like, there were 3 in like a 3-year span.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same guy. And I couldn't understand how he could be so cruel to children. He can fight with my father all he wants, but you're children. And he was a terrible experience with that man. And then that whole time I was thinking, like, why would people do the things that they do? Why do you choose to be mean? Why do you choose to be cruel when you have options to be otherwise? Mm-hmm. And then I actually realized that it's not just those people. It's everyone. It's absolutely everybody. All the time, consistently. And then I started trying to figure out, why do people do the things that they do? Which then led to Life by Design. And that was it.
Wow. So, I mean, clearly that experience at that young age had, certainly triggered you through the journey of discovering why do people do the things that they do, mm-hmm. right? What would you say has been the most intriguing discovery that you have found with people?
The most intriguing one is that we're bloody idiots. All the time.
I love the honesty. I have to admit that. I love the honesty.
And in us being idiots, we're amazing and phenomenal. Because we're always genuinely just motivated by what it is that we want in that moment at that time. And such instant thinking, like everybody always says that we don't live in the present moment, right? In the past or in the future. Actually, we're always in the present moment. And we're always driven by now. And it is in how we act in the now that makes us amazing idiots. Because there isn't a single soul out here who was born and then planned a life of evil and destruction. It was always in response to whatever was happening to them at the present moment. And it has a million repercussions all around the world. But that is the most intriguing thing about human beings, is our ability to create our environment based on a very narrow viewpoint that's subjected to your own perception.
Very subjective, right? I think in humanity itself, the assumptions and perceptions that have been created within ourselves tend to drive behavior and drive what we do and say and act and respond and all of these things. What would you say, so you've clearly started to unpack a life by design at such a young age. What was it like, you getting after school, after studying? What did the design of life look like then?
Okay, please repeat that. What is the design of life?
So when you finished college and you finished, your school and your studies, and you're entering into life now, how did the design look like then? Surely it's different, right? Because you're entering. No? Okay.
Not at all.
Okay, I am intrigued.
My life didn't start after college. I mean, at 16, my amazing sister organized a job for me. So it was my weekend school holiday job, and I was a promo girl. But I launched all of my favorite perfumes today. I was there at the beginning. I was making mad money for somebody who was in high school on a weekend job. I learned a lot about service, the human being, and I knew even then, everyone speaks about having a vision board. I didn't know I was making a vision board. Please, I know I look young, but this is literally 25 years ago. So, so the buzzwords were not there. We had I had great magazines. So when the SLK launched, I ripped it up and I liked it, and it was in my diary. It was my favorite brand. It was my favorite type of lifestyle, like traveling and oceans and beaches and beach houses. And I fell in love with everything Japan, everything Japan. And then that was my life for a long time because I knew it was going to happen. I was just waiting for it to happen. However, when I did leave college, what actually did happen was reality hit me like a ton of bricks. The work environment, the fact that adults are not wiser, smarter, or better than children. Literally, you have bosses and people in management where you defer certain decisions to. And being young and black and cultured the way I was, older people actually do know better, and you should listen to what they say. And sorry, I was not that kind of girl. When you come down and your ideas are half-assed, really? I didn't understand the lack of emotional intelligence that runs corporate South Africa. In that a lot of people make work and corporate issues personal and not about the company. Yeah. So I went through a whole phase, and I mean a series of jobs, right? Where the only reason I left wasn't because I loved my jobs, all of them. I couldn't stand the people I worked with. They were driving me insane. because all the comments, the criticisms, the feedbacks, all of it was about me and my life. I mean, my favorite one, and I will keep this forever. I love this one. They're like, so Tess, you don't quite fit. You know, like there's this box, and like you don't quite fit, and we don't know whether you're coming or going. And mind you, this is like your annual review, right? They're telling me like they don't quite know where to place me. And they're like, so they keep quiet and they push the question back to me. I'm like, okay, so you don't know where I fit. Where's the question in that? They're like, so we're trying to figure out what to do. Like what I was like, okay, let me help you. There is no box. If you can start without having a box, me and you will work great. But if you're trying to place me in a box, I'll never match up. I'll never measure up because I'm just not there. I'm about the work, you know? And that doesn't go down well with office politics.
Yep. Absolutely.
Which is actually why my first course for business is integration. It's about diversity of the staff that people, like in our country, we live in such polarized community, right? The only place you're ever going to encounter another person of another race, another culture, another like whatever you want to put it, is at work. You know? And if you don't understand what it takes for everybody in your business to arrive in that building and pursue the organization's goals, you're paddling backwards. See? And that's literally my own experience.
Yeah, so true. And these things, you know, I have also been told you don't fit in this box, so I can relate to that, right? Because and then you look at that and it was like, you know, you get this blank look on your face because the question gets posed back to you, and the assumption is that you now need to, I don't know, make the box a circle or make it a different shade, or, you know, and it is amazing how people use these type of, I will say sayings, and they kind of categorize people in there and make us fit into something that we don't actually fit or belong.
And it's actually quite interesting because in an organizational structure, there are boxes and people do fit into there, right? And we fit very well. They're the ones who should be in sales. They should be the ones who are in corporate comms. They should be the ones who are the admin people, because we're all gifted differently.
Yeah.
But when you're basing those boxes on personality and not your ability to actually do your job, you just cause chaos.
Absolutely.
And people promote people they like instead of people who actually work. And I was like, I don't get that at all.
And it still happens today. It still happens today. I think sometimes more often
it's
than
a human
usual.
condition.
Yeah, definitely a human condition. So let's take it to where you are now, Tessa, you know, in terms of, you know, life and obviously the design that you created, that pathway that leads you to today, right? Because I think share with the people with all those lessons and things that you've been through from the age of 16. You know, what are you currently doing right now in terms of, you know, you as a businesswoman and entrepreneur?
So, having been certified unemployable, I was like, you're literally never going to get an SOK with my 9 to 5. You know, so I had to like marry a rich husband. And that always happens.
Yeah.
So to actually backtrack, I have an amazing and awesome family. Purely because of what I think we did go through. We're very close-knit set of siblings. And my mom and my dad are instrumental in our makeup. And the 20s that hit me with reality was that my parents are doing the best that they can with what they know.
Yeah.
And if I am honest about it, they were in uncharted waters. You know, we were the
Yeah.
first black kids family anywhere. All of my school pictures, I'm the only black kid, like
Wow.
until grade 11, right? We were the only black family in an Afrikaans neighborhood that had the nicest houses in Boksburg for 10 years. Trust me, like when black people moved in, I knew about it. I saw them,
The neighborhood knew.
you know? We're the only black family I know who've traveled the country widely and stayed at five-star hotels in every province. And in some restaurants, actually being refused entry. Like, I don't have those memories. My sisters have them because they're older. But this is the makeup. And I look at my parents and I try to figure out, like, what does it take to have so much conviction, like serious guts,
Yeah.
to take all of your kids, half across God knows where we don't even speak Afrikaans,
Yeah.
and this is what we're doing for 10 days. You know? This is how I was raised. So how dare I look at my boss, who's never going to make $1 million bar in his life because he doesn't think that way, and think I am less than him. So my identity, my history, my makeup, my formation is formidable. And I cannot, there is no space in me to let that down. So when I was picking a partner by default in my 16s, it's like, you know, you listen to R&B, you gotta love the stars, and like it's all that stuff. A lot of my coffee songs, favorite songs, is actually what kind of a love I would be, like the type of catch I would be to a guy. And I was a serial dater to a point when I actually said to my dad, this is my boyfriend. He's like, oh, like all my friends are males. So that's okay. He wasn't. You know, it was my mother who like wrote a whole long letter approving of who this boy is and how my family must welcome him because he's amazing. And I liked him. I liked him a lot. And then when I woke up and realized I was actually really, truly head over feet with this book.
How old were you at that time?
I was 22.
Wow.
I had a breakdown. I was like the it girl at the time. I was here. I was happening. And then here's this guy from nowhere. I was like, yes. Wow. And my close friend at the time, she was sleeping over. Like, we were supposed to go see him. Like, we slept over. And in the morning, I'm like, I'm going to go. Like, I just have to melt off. And she was like, Tace, he really likes you. And you really like him. So if our mom say yes, just take that and run with it. You know? So that is the story of Pepper and I, 17 years ago. You know, we're still together. We now have two boys, TJ and Paul, who will probably interrupt the session at some point during this hour because I have men who've just woken up from their nap. But the love that we had wasn't it's not romantic. You know, it's not nonsense. It's not like starstruck and soppy like you hear in the
movies.
You know, there's no such thing.
Yeah, there's no such thing.
What it actually is. And it is two people who've chosen to live their lives together. We make each other better. We push each other harder. We support each other. Like, we're our biggest fans and our biggest critics. You know?
Yeah.
He's my friend. He's the bestest of friends. He makes me laugh.
And that's so important.
Like, it's really not. Like, I have the worst dry sense of humor ever. I'm surprised I make him laugh, but I actually do. And I'm not trying at those moments, by the way. I'm just like, acts out laughing. And he has been my favorite project in that And I say this with all humility, by the way, in that when you get to a point where you think you have a philosophy about life and you start to practice it, he's had first-hand experience what it's cost me emotionally, physically, spiritually to live my life by design. Because all my actions, he's first responder. And it affects me before anybody else. If I make bad money decisions, he has to sort it out, or he's in it, or he's in the mix, you know. If I do something amazing and awesome, he's the first responder, you know. So when I say he's my favorite project, he's real evidence of my life and what I believe to be true. Right. My kids now they're toddlers, so we'll see when they're 16 how it affects them. But they've got that 20s to have to get over the errors that parents made. Like everybody is fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, that is absolutely beautiful. You know, especially having someone that supports the design that you live by or that you've created and that honors that, right?
Yeah.
Which I'm sure has an entrepreneur and a businesswoman out there, you know, as much as you need the someone to be with you alongside with you, you know, being there to support and respect and honor what you do and who you are. I mean, it's 17 years, right? I mean,
4 businesses in.
And 4 businesses in. So yeah, that is incredible. Do you want to share some of the work that you are doing with the kids?
Okay, so Youth Nation is a spin-off of summer camps that I used to go through at church. It was at church where I found my personality. Mind you, I'm the third daughter of 4 children in my mother's house. And everybody has class A personalities. It took me all of about 8 years to realize that my actual personality is very introvert, but I had to find my voice so that I did not become a clone of my sisters or my mother.
Makes sense.
So there's this confidence in all of this, like, so I can manage people and keep you at bay. So I can come sit home and wear my bobby socks and my sport shorts and white t-shirts and be a nerd. In peace.
In peace.
In peace.
In peace.
So when I went to camp, I realized physically how strong I was, how I could play any sport. I'm gifted that way. I found my voice. I realized I had leadership qualities. That I mattered. My opinion mattered. And I could group kids and we could do stuff and I could literally carry my whole dorm for 3 weeks through activities and songs. And I loved that. But ultimately I learned who I was through doing things for the first time that I'd never done before. You know? And people underestimate experiences. Because what I now do at camp, I've taken out the religion part because it is polarizing. I'm on a mission to create a united continent where we don't have time to speak about religion. We all know we need to have a spiritual part and relationship with God. And there's an entire story. Actually, I need to send you a clip of this. I wrote a whole story about how the world started with 1,000 human beings, and how we got to 7.8 billion.
Please do so. I would love to see that.
It's very simple. And now people are like, our issues are basically language. Because whether you pay, whatever language you pray in, you're praying.
Yes.
And that's what matters.
Yeah.
Pray.
Right.
You know? So camp is very much about giving kids experiences so they learn their physiological responses. you know, what the fear looks like when your heart rate goes up and you're uncomfortable and you're not great. Because those experiences that will repeat themselves your whole life through. So if you know already that this is my fear factor, and I think my favorite story is my niece, so figure, she was abseiling. And the whole time before that, she thought something was going to go wrong. She even did like a 30-second cam. I was like, Daddy, please forgive this. And Mommy, please, if I don't make it. It was a whole like drama thing. It was cute. It was drama. And Murphy's Law, halfway down, she got stuck. And then she packed it out in tears.
Oh,
She proper, like, unraveled on the side of the wall. And everyone's like, no, we're going to come. I'm like, no. It's like, Samuel, breathe. Listen to the instructions. What's wrong with the ropes? And she fixed it, and then she came down. And then she wanted to do it again. And this time she did it like 3 minutes flat. She did the whole jump, superhero jump thing. And the whole point was, she realized that A, she created a self-fulfilling prophecy without using that phrase. B, she was the only person who was stopping her to getting through what she needed to do. But the most important thing is she realized how, what's the word I'm looking for? What happens like when you freeze? When you give into fear and you actually paralyzes you.
okay.
And now she can recognize it. And every time those emotions, like, and it is literally your brain going through a whole host of neurosynapses, right? When it starts, she can recognize it. And everything she's done ever since it's camp, it's not because she's fearless. It's just she knows what it looks like. And she makes the decision to do it again. Anyway. That's what Youth Nation's about. We take kids to camp, and we tell them about the birds and bees. We tell them about booze and drugs. And we throw them at type of experiences to transform their understanding of their physiology.
Wow, that's absolutely stunning and beautiful. Tessa, I think you need you need to share with us. I mean, I know, with COVID and things like that, things have been, everything had to stand still. I'm not too sure if you are planning your next one. And if you are, I think share the details.
I will. I know essentially I saw flames last year. Like, I think I invested about 200K in 6 camps. None of the campsites survived.
Sure.
And
it has been difficult.
I only managed to do camp in December, and that was purely to remind myself that the kids need this. It's out there. It's necessary. Let's do this. It's to come back to me. And then to cement again what the 250-year goal for Youth Nations is and what it's based on.
Okay.
So I did one camp.
Okay. But listen, it's a great initiative, right? And I think if you are launching it again or reviving it again, I think let us know. Would love to feature you into the journal, and if you want to have one or two of your old campers that had went onto the treat at the last one, that would be great to have them and just to talk and to inspire the youth to come to something, because it's something that's needed, right?
It is, and it's amazing. The last camp, we had a kid who had ADD, but like for real, not the stuff people think it was real. He had meds, the works.
Yeah.
And it was a challenge for the mom to allow him into my care, and she took a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And at the camp, I mean, this kid is extra. But he's the brightest star we had. He had the most energy for everything. And the kids actually knew how to work with him. He never felt isolated. He never felt alone. He never felt separate. Like, his uniqueness was actually celebrated, and it helped everybody else come up with their own quirky selves at camp. which was so much fun. And I loved that. And it was a lesson to me. I don't get a lot of those, but it was a lesson to me and other adults who don't spend enough time with children, that kids know how to embrace each other.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, he's got like this. No, somebody in my class is like that. This is how what we do, And that was it. It was literally it. Our children are much more equipped to lead the world and make big decisions than adults.
No, I hear you, sisters. I so agree with you. I've seen it too. Yeah. They are so much in touch with themselves than we let credit to be, right?
Exactly.
And we don't realize how mature kids are actually. The emotional intelligence that they have, we underestimate our children so much. So much. Yeah.
And because I'm an
Go for it.
I was going to say, because I'm an entrepreneur, like I can't sit still. Like I was losing my mind. I couldn't do camp. And then I got into logistics, from a corporate communications, because that's my company, R&D Comms, was that a lot of the clients I had before were now calling me, trying to help me consult for them in the whole work from home experience, because I was studying that for 3 years.
Okay.
And my motivation at the time was that you actually improve your employees' quality of life and output goes through the roof. As long as you don't make them sit for like 5 hours in traffic in total, they're frustrated when they get to work. They only do give you 4 hours of actual work. The rest, everyone's just messing around on the Wi-Fi. And I've been preaching this for 3 years, and then COVID hit, and suddenly it was true. Guys, yo. Anyway, so I did that, and then I got into logistics, which is so much fun. It is hectic. It's one thing to be at the top of your game and then start from the bottom again. And I encourage everybody to do something they've never done before from scratch. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a business, it can be a hobby. But the humbling experience of knowing how you've conditioned yourself, how you've settled for what you have settled for, and you actually discover a whole new world, a whole new perspective of how other people live and how they make a living. It's fascinating, the characters I'm coming across. Fascinating.
Yeah.
People I would have never met otherwise. And there's a whole section of our population in our country that lives like this. And they're happy. So I've never in my life engaged in so many different things that challenge my perspective on what I think I know. And it's amazing. It's frustrating. I'm alive. I'm crying. I'm swearing. I'm happy. I'm chilled. I'm pissed. I'm doing the works. But like it's full spectrum emotion. I'm a hero and a bitch at the same time. Like consistent. It's a lie.
We all have our moments. Yeah. We all have our moments. And we all have our challenges at the same time, right? And wow. So you've definitely spread out those wings into different fields and different planes of gathering, information and looking at life so differently. Because the people that we meet, I meet people, all walks of life, hey. It's just amazing, some people that come to you and this is who they are and the way that I'm going to say programmed, right, to be. It is quite fascinating when you interact with people and the way that they are and who they are and how they live and how they live by, So.
And what I think it helps, and we need so much more of this as individuals, is realizing that no matter what you do, who you are or where you're at, your whole outlook on life is based on your ideas in life. They're just yours.
So true. So
And
true.
every now and again, you find like-minded souls, call them your tribe, and vibe works. And then you switch up internally. And suddenly that tribe that works, just there's no vibe anymore.
Yeah.
You know? And people are not honest enough with themselves or accepting, I suppose, that they are seeing the world from their own lenses. And you're not right.
Yeah.
Ever. Over somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, it's just whether are we accomplishing the same goal? Yes, then let's do that. Then we can both be right. But up until that point, you're actually not right. Because you don't know.
So true. So true. Guys, is there any questions, any thoughts? Please send them through. Tess, I think you and I can speak the whole day, right? I mean, we can go into conversations that goes into different spectrums. So, any last final thoughts or any final, advice that you would want to share with people? When they watch this, what would be the one thing that you would want them to acknowledge regarding how they move forward with their lives, where we stand today with COVID as well?
That's a big question, Pushni.
I know it is.
I don't give advice, number one.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
I don't do advice.
I respect that.
The problem with advice is it's optional.
Yes, it is. It is optional, yes.
And I've realized I'm not the type of person who gives people options. I am what my friend, who's got a lot of titles behind in front of her psychology thing,
Yeah.
described me as a provocative coach. And life will only ever change for you when you get up and do something. You have to make up your mind. You have to choose a struggle. You have to pick a path. And you gotta take not the first step, because that's the motivation. It's the second step. It's the second step that you have to take. And if you need an analogy, a very good friend of mine told me this. Tightrope walkers, right? Always take the first step, no problem. Because the one step is still safe on the foundation. The one is on the rope. It's only when you take the second step where everything's up for grabs. And you have to focus and put one step in front of another. So forget taking the first step. Do the second one. And when people are ready to unravel the miseducation that has been their lives, they can call me. And I can guide you through to get you to point A. And then you can figure out the rest of your life for yourself.
I love it. Absolutely love it, Tess. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your experience with us today. It has been so enlightening to hear, what it's been like and still just discovering, right? Because that's life. We continue to discover as we go. I mean, I learned so much from you today, just in this call. I mean, and that's what it is. Every storyteller that comes into open mic, there's always something for me to learn from them. And I have the biggest growth I ever had, I think, in this pandemic is actually listening to someone's story and all that they have been through and are still going through, and what are their challenges and what have they've learned. So I take away my second step. I take away it's not the first, it's the second, right? It's the most important, and how you go on from there.
Exactly.
Wow.
Take the second.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. Please
can I say one more thing quickly?
Yeah, sure.
It's the only thing I ever wanted to say, and it never comes up.
Okay, go for it. Go for it.
People need to get over the confidence and the false sense of confidence. You just jump off that wagon, please. True confidence is knowing where you come from. True confidence is understanding what you're made out of. Because when you need to dig deep, it doesn't come from affirmations or fancy sayings. It's from a knowing of your maker. Our world is in a crisis because we're raising generations and generations of children without a sense of identity. Let's talk that.
From your words to God's ears to our ears to all of us making, right? And I do agree with you, right? Because we search for things outside of our control, not realizing that we have control if we look within. Yeah. The answers that we all look for is within. Mm-hmm. And if we search deep enough to understand what does that mean and how deep we can go within, we will find the answers that we're looking for. Beautiful words, Tessa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, my family.
Thank you, everyone. Tessa, if there's anything that you want to share on I'm not too sure. I think you shared on Instagram and on Facebook. I didn't connect with you on Facebook. Seems to be something I think we tried and it wasn't working. I couldn't tag you, but please share your details if anybody wants to get in touch with Tessa and her inspiration and beauty. Please contact her, or you can contact me directly if you need to get in touch with Tessa as well.
It'll be better that way.
All right, Tessa. Great afternoon to you guys. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a fantastic Sunday afternoon. Wish you guys well.